Hi everybody, it's Stephanie Grams with mysewingneedle.com. So today I am working on a couple orders. The first order is a custom order that was actually it's going to be designed by myself for a customer who had a very specific idea for a primitive doll. So in order to get my customer's order to the specifications she wanted, I actually hand painted this Osnaburg or muslin fabric, and this is actually Osnaburg, Osnaburg, and with all of my fabric I wash it, dry it, and then iron it before I start designing these dolls. Now this particular order will be revealed when she's actually delivered to the customer. But I wanted to show you quickly how I transfer patterns. Everybody in the world has their own ideas of how they do this, and there's no right or wrong way. Well, okay, maybe there is. I would not use crayons or markers or gel pens when you are tracing your patterns. But water soluble, anything that's water soluble, it has worked for me, but you know, do what you want with your own creations. Anyhow, so for this order over here, these are actually going to be heirloom dolls. And these heirloom dolls, what I do is, here, let me get them all out, is I line up my fabric and I trace multiples at one time. So right now I have, let me see, 5 bodies already traced out. When I trace, I don't care if it's neat or not neat. It does not matter, because they always turn out really, really beautiful. Now, a lot of people say if you know whether you should use cotton thread or polyester thread. For my heirloom dolls, I use polyester thread, at least for the bodies. The clothes might be a little different story, but the reason I use polyester thread, let me show you what I have here. I used Coats & Clark polyester, and the reason I use that, let me see here, all-purpose, thread. The reason I use that is because whenever I am done and I cut out my body parts in pieces and heads, that this is going to actually be sculpted here pretty soon, is whenever they are sewn together like this, you can see, I then take my hot iron and I iron over the whole piece, including where it is sewn. And polyester tends to melt a little bit under the heat of my iron. And that's important, at least for my creations, because I have so many angles that I use. As you can see, it's not just straight. I mean, I have curvatures and corners, and it's very important. It keeps my fabric, it keeps my doll bodies, their arms, legs, so forth, together where they don't pull and start to fray. Now, I have not ironed this yet, but I wanted to show you that after you sew it and you flip this inside out, or right side out I should say, you want to take your hot iron and you want to line the stitches up. That way it's nice and even, and then you end up with a crisp fold. And I do that obviously before stuffing, and I also make sure all of my corners are rounded out. Again, when you are an artist or creator, there's really no wrong way to do your art. And I think sometimes we get tied up in other people's opinions on how they do their work, or how you might think somebody should do something, or it's right or wrong. And I know there's a lot of arguments that happen, and especially in the sewing type of, groups. I don't want to name any names because I really don't like to stir up trouble. But if you're new to sewing, or you've really wanted to sew and you just get so worried that you're going to do something wrong, you can't do anything wrong when you're creating your own masterpiece, your own designs and so forth. If if you're worried, how do I say this? If you're worried about making a mistake when you're sewing, it's not the end of your life. You can start all over if you have to, or you can set that project aside and start something new. But whatever you do, don't be so afraid that you're not going to take a chance and try a new skill. And I love sewing. I was taught how to hand sew when I was about 7 years old, so that was over 30 years ago. And you just don't know. You just don't know where it's going to take you in your life. It is one skill I think that everybody, male and female, any age, should learn, if at all possible. So anyway, it's just a moment of creative inspiration and encouragement for all of you. Bye.